Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Omotayo Alo. In our top stories, President Muhammad Buhari at the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations restated his determination to sanitize the oil industry. Other stories, President Muhammad Buhari has ordered the National Hajj Commission to account for all Nigerian pilgrims at the Holy Land. Senate has declared its readiness to resume for plenary on Tuesday after a 6-week break. And from outside Nigeria, Afghan Taliban fighters who launched an assault on the country's northern provincial city of Kunduz have hosted their white banner over the main square. Thank you for joining us at this time. Now the news in full. President Muhammad Buhari has restated his determination to fully sanitize the country's oil industry and make it totally free of corruption and shady deals. President Buhari, during a meeting with President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations, said the first step has been taken with the appointment of a new management for the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and its subsequent reorganization. The president said the prosecution of those who misappropriated the NNPC's revenue on the past administrations will commence soon. President Muhammad Buhari has ordered the National Hajj Commission and the Nigerian Embassy in Saudi Arabia to urgently account for all Nigerian pilgrims in the Holy Land. In a statement today by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Gabashew explained that the presidential order was necessitated by the conflicted report on the numbers of Nigerians who died or suffered injuries in the disaster. He said the president is concerned that days after the incident, some Nigerian families are still grappling with the painful uncertainty over the fate of their relatives who traveled to Saudi Arabia for this year's Hajj. President Buhari also directed the Hajj Commission, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigerian Embassy in Saudi Arabia to give all necessary assistance to Nigerians who are still receiving treatment in the country. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACO, has confirmed the death of 54 Nigerians in a deadly stampede in Mina, Saudi Arabia during this year's Hajj. The chairman of NACO, Abdullahi Mukhtar Mohammed, who disclosed this today, said 42 out of the 54 that died were from State's Pilgrims Welfare Board, including 2 NACO officials, while others were among those on the pilgrimage by the private tour operators. Mohammed listed 15 states that lost its pilgrims, including Bauchi, Borno, Zamfara, Cross River, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Sokoto, Taraba, and Yobe. At least 12 pilgrims from Taraba State are still missing after the Hajj stampede in Mina, Saudi Arabia. This is aside from the Panti Singh Abbas Sambo, who has since been confirmed dead. A government delegation on Monday paid a condolence visit to the royal family in the aftermath of the tragedy. We'll bring you details of that report later. Family of the late Bilikisu Yusuf, who died in the arch stampede, have described as one person who lived the life for religion. Husband of the deceased, Mustafa Muhammad, told visiting members of the local charter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Kaduna that she enjoyed rendering service to the country. Amina Anebe, who was in the delegation, now files in this report presented from our studios. All right, we'll bring you that later. Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari says his administration is set to fight corruption to a logical conclusion despite the daunting challenges. The president gave the assurance in Abuja at a training organized by the Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa. He expressed concern at the rate public funds were looted by government officials on the day the EFCC decried the level of corruption in the country. Pius Samuel has more.
13 African countries are gathered here for a 10-day training on how to fight corruption in the West African sub-region. They have converged on the EFCC training school to champion a way forward for a corrupt-free sub-region. But first, the EFCC chairman, Ibrahim Lamurde, expressed shock over the growing level of corruption in the country.
Crimes in each of our nations today have not only grown in proportion, but in sophistication. And criminals now have reaches across national institutions and borders, and can even threaten the very existence of some states. We count ourselves very lucky in Nigeria to have a government that, without prompting from any quarter, chose the determined war on corruption as its defining character.
The story of corruption cuts across several West African countries. Joseph Camara is the chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission of Sierra Leone. He argued that now that corruption has an international dimension, there's need for an international solution.
There are certain issues that are commonplace in Africa today, especially in the sub-region. Issues of third-term bids for presidents, extending their tenure of office, issues of political financing, tweaking of elections, issues of money laundering, lack of education because of corruption. These are all issues that go beyond the debate. And as a people, as custodians, and as leaders in the fight against corruption, we take responsibility in ensuring that we take our positions to make sure that we deliver the hope, not only the aspirations for the young, but for those of us that are seated here this morning.
In the midst of all this, President Muhammadu Buhari says he's determined to win the war against corruption in Nigeria. He, however, wants the EFCC to come up with a workable framework to enhance the anti-graft crusade. The president insists that he is prepared to reclaim all stolen wealth from individuals or groups.
The government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is totally committed to the fight against all forms of fraud, be it economic, financial crimes, corruption, or money laundering. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, the defining narrative of Nigeria had been that of a country on the march, but in the wrong direction. For despite the fact that Nigeria is one of the most resource-rich countries in the world, the lives of its people has been blighted by the scourge of corruption.
For now, Nigerians can only hope that the regional cooperation will go a long way in stamping out corruption from West Africa. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The federal government says despite the isolated violence being witnessed in some parts of the country, Nigeria is winning the war against the Boko Haram sect. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Aliyu Ismaila, who disclosed this to journalists today in New York, said the nation's security agencies are ready to end insurgency in the country within the deadline given to them by President Muhammad Buhari. Ismaila pointed out that the necessary machinery has been put in place to meet the deadline. A former secretary to government of the Federation, Olufalaye, on Monday confessed that his family paid ransom to his abductors before he was freed on Thursday. He said the kidnappers only freed him after they received payment, adding that he trekked for 15 kilometers before he was picked up by the police in Owo, several kilometers from Akure, the Ondo state capital. The former minister's disclosure has put a lie to the claim by the Nigerian police that no ransom was paid before his release. It was recalled that after spending 4 days in the kidnappers' den, Falaye, who was on Thursday escorted back home by security operatives, said he slept on the floor for 4 days and trekked several kilometers to get to the hideout of his abductors. We'll take a break now and we'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it is time to forgive me.
Political Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly. Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, it's CoreTV Primetime News. Here is a quick reminder of our top stories. President Muhammad Buhari at the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations restated his determination to sanitize the oil industry. Also, President Muhammad Buhari has ordered the National Art Commission to account for all Nigerian programs at the Holy Land. Senate has declared its readiness to resume for plenary on Tuesday after 6 weeks. And for more of our news and information, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. You could get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, Little Space and News. Meanwhile, we told you earlier that the family of the late Bilikisu Yusuf, who died in the arch stampede, family members described her as the person who lived her life for a religion. A husband of the deceased, Mustafa Muhammad, told visiting members of the local charter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Kaduna that she enjoyed rendering service to the country. Amina Nebe tells us more. Bilikisu Yusuf was a journalist by profession and a political scientist by training. So it's not surprising that her work at the Ministry of Information in Kano through her stint as editor of Sunday Triumph Kano and that of New Nigerian Kaduna and Citizen magazine in Kaduna centered around these two fields. She was also a leading advocate of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign until she was invited to join the official Arch delegation. Her husband explained that the invitation came at the last minute.
Sincerely thank the NUJ, the National Union of Journalists, for showing their solidarity for coming on this condolence visit and all the kind words you said about my wife, our sister, our mother, etc. Bilkisu lived her life for her religion, for her people. I mean, her community, her relations, and anybody that she has interacted with.
The NUJ team was led by the Vice President in charge of Northwest on behalf of the President, Abdul Wahid Odushile.
Her death, is a great loss to all of us. It is a great loss to Nigeria because she is one asset that Nigeria is all equally going to miss. But then while we are missing her and, knowing that fully well she's not going to be with us again, we want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make her soul rest in peace. We know that she is there resting. We should continue to rest because of the way and manner she died. And we pray that all those that died along with her, Nigerians and others who died in the pilgrimage, may their soul rest in perfect peace.
Bilikisu Yusuf, the first female journalist from northern Nigeria to be an editor, is one of over 700 pilgrims who died in a stampede at Mina, Saudi Arabia. Official figure of Nigerians who died in a stampede is 56. Rest in peace, Bilikisu Yusuf. The Senate has declared its readiness to resume for plenary on Tuesday after a 6-week break. This is contrary to speculations that the federal lawmakers may defer their resumption. The chairman, Senate Ad hoc Committee on Media and Publicity, Dino Melai, said in a statement that the urban chamber will commence legislative activities as scheduled. He also noted that the Senate is prepared to receive any communication from the presidency in furtherance of its duties. Senator Melai maintained that there will be no stormy session in the chamber on resumption, has been peddled by a section of the media, adding that the leadership and all senators are in peace amongst themselves and they're focused on working for the good of the country at all times. The dust raised by the attack on the Senate President Bukola Saraki at the Eid praying ground in Ilorin is yet to settle as labor unions in the state have absolved themselves of the incident. This development comes as government insists that the workers have been paid, arguing that the rampage was uncalled for. Rashid has more.
Since the stoning of Senate President Bukola Saraki and other eminent personalities at the Eid praying ground in Ilorin, there have been accusations and reactions from different quarters, especially on the alleged involvement of the state workers in the stoning saga. Reacting to the incident, the senior special assistant to the governor of media, Muhyiddin Akorede, denied that those involved in the act were workers demanding for the payment of their salaries, while disclosing that the initial bailout fund received by government was used to pay salaries for the month of August.
Especially at the state level, since this economic crisis started. As recently as August, the state government secured a 4.3 billion naira bailout from the federal government for the payment of state workers, which was used to pay the outstanding 2-month salaries to the workers. So as of last week, the state government was not owing any of its workers any arrears. But the state government did not stop at that. His Excellency Governor Ahmed continued to relate with the CBN to release the 5 billion naira bailout for the local government councils. Now, unlike other states which received the state and local government's bailout at once, the state government received only its own portion of the bailout, leaving that of the local government out. The governor continued to relate with the CBN to ensure that they release these bailout funds to the local governments so we can pay off the arrears. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But when, as we were approaching the celebrations, His Excellency then went to 3 banks to raise 4 billion naira, with which the September salaries of state civil servants was paid, although the fact allocation had not come yet, and part of it was also used to pay local government workers in anticipation of the 5 billion naira bailout. So as we speak, almost all civil servants in the state and local government levels have received their salaries. The only ones that may not have received are those who have been affected by the public holidays. But I assure that by the end by Monday, everyone will have received their salary. So there's no truth at all to the perception that anybody is agitating against the Kwara State government or the governor or our leadership. That's Senator Bukola Saraki, the Senate President, on the issue of salary payment. It's completely untrue. The state government is fully up to date in its payment of salaries. What happened was the handover of miscreants.
On his part, the chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Kola Olumo, pointed out that the workers started receiving their salaries 2 days before the Salah Day, while also denying that those who protested at the Eid praying ground were workers. He described the incident as politically motivated.
In fact, I want to lay more emphasis on this. As we are now, the state government is not owing us. And I can authoritatively say it to the whole world. I am telling you today that as at Thursday, Salah was Thursday, as at Tuesday, Wednesday morning, already, Ministry of Finance, they are dispersed out. And civil servants will confirm they got theirs. But you know, because of the bureaucratic nature of the local government, you understand, that was the cause of the delay, that some of them couldn't have gotten to see their alerts. Some had gotten. I want to make the world know that Kwara workers were not owed money. And that can't have been the cause of the grievances that occurred at the Eid praying ground. Because as at that time, before then, the outgoing chairman, even personally, myself and him, we spoke. And he confirmed to me that the local government's accounts have been credited. The deductions for many of these local governments were already going out. And also, even the teachers, the suburb, they were already seeing alerts as at Wednesday. So why would anyone now believe that the cause of the grievances at the Eid praying ground was by Kwara workers? No! This was politically motivated. I have repeated it often and often. I've made my own findings too, and I've gotten to realize that it had a different meaning. So they should not ascribe it to Kwara workers.
As government and workers wash their hands off the ugly situation, it still remains a mystery as to the motive behind the incident. This, however, does not change the magnitude of the action. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Lagos State Governor Akinomi Ambode has reiterated his commitment to carry out legal reforms in the state. The governor was speaking at a service to commemorate the beginning of 2015 and 2016 legal year, said the synergy of the executive and the judiciary arm of government is key to the success of any administration. Governor Ambode assured that his administration will continue to lend support to the development, enthronement and quick dispensation of justice in the country. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has promised to address the issue of unpaid salaries of former workers of the disbanded State Traffic Management Agency, also known as Timariv. The governor, who spoke through his special advisor on media and publicity, Opunabo Inoko Tarie, was reacting to the demonstration of the former employees of the erstwhile traffic agency. Governor Wike recalled that the non-payment of the Timariv staff salaries could be traced to the immediate past administration's inability to manage state resources. He urged the protesters to be patient, promising to clear the backlog in the shortest possible period. The governor, however, pointed out that it was not possible to address all the monetary issues at the same time due to the paucity of funds, as workers and pensioners' allowances are still owed. We'll take another break and we'll be back with stories from outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday. will bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Welcome. And on the foreign scene, Afghan Taliban fighters who launched an assault on the country's northern provincial city of Kunduz have hosted their white flag banner over the main square. Hundreds of Taliban fighters today carried out early morning raids on Kunduz, entering the northern city from 3 different directions and reportedly seizing large parts of the city. The deputy governor said battles between government forces and the Taliban were raging about 500 meters from the governor's compound. Two security officials disclosed that Taliban broke into the main prison in Kunduz, freeing hundreds of fellow fighters. An increased number of Afghan security forces have been deployed to the city to fight against the Taliban, and a big offensive is soon to be conducted to take back the parts in the group's control. President Barack Obama has denounced world powers that continue to support embattled Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad. Speaking at the 7th United Nations General Assembly on Monday, Obama said Syria cannot return to the pre-war status quo, adding that peace in Syria is only possible if Assad leaves office. President Obama, however, said the U.S. will work with any nation on Syria, including Russia and Iran. The Syrian conflict, which began as a peaceful protest in 2011, has led to at least 250,000 deaths and more than half of Syria's pre-war population of 22.4 million has been internally displaced or fled abroad. The Saudi Interior Ministry has announced that security forces have killed 2 suspected fighters from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant Group and arrested another 3 during raids. In a statement on Monday, the Interior Ministry said the raids were carried out in the capital Riyadh and the eastern city of Dammam. The statement said the men belonged to an ISIL cell that was planning to carry out an imminent terrorist attack. The ministry also claimed that the ISIL group, which was involved in a suicide bombing that was carried out in a mosque at a police station in Al-Bak in early August, that left 15 people dead. And in sport, the Federation of Public Service Games 2015 has unveiled today at the Imo State Government House. Governor Rochas Okorocha, who was ably represented by his deputy, Prince Eze Majimere, reforms the unveiling exercise in this capacity. CoreTV's Ajibade Officer reports that this is the first time Imo State will host such, and from the gesture of the people, the state aims to do it better than it was previously done by all the states. We'll bring you details of that later. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Taekwondo Federation has said it is planning to attend international tournament to prepare the national team for the 2016 Rio Olympic Games. The president of NTF, George Ashiru, said that the body was banking on the support of the National Sports Commission. Nigeria came third in Taekwondo behind Egypt and Ivory Coast with 1 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze at the Brazzaville 2015 All-African Games. Ashiru said, "We are working with the NSC to give our athletes more exposure, especially before the Olympics trial, which will be in March 2016. Also, the Tigers matched Guinea 100-47 to get their second win in the Cameroon 2015 AfroBasket Women in Yaoundé on Sunday. Nigeria lost 57-51 to arch-rivals Angola in their opening game on Friday and got back into the tournament by beating Egypt 97-68 on Saturday. The Tigers dominated their match against Guinea from the first quarter, which ended 25-9. The Guineans put up a better performance in the second quarter and scored 19 points to Nigeria's 18 points. Before we go tonight, here is a quick reminder of our top stories. President Muhammad Buhari at the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations restated his determination to sanitize the oil industry. Also, President Muhammad Buhari has ordered the National Hajj Commission to account for all Nigerian pilgrims at the Holy Land. Senate has declared its readiness to resume for plenary on Tuesday after a 6-week break. On behalf of the entire news crew, thank you so very much for watching. My name is Omotayo Alo. Have a good night rest.